Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is Marvin Cargo, and this is my review of House of the Rising Suns. I know what you're thinking. Where's the opening? Did I miss it? Well, this is a little bit of art reflecting life. When I walked into the cinema to see this movie, one guy ripped my ticket, at the gate. And I walked down the hallway a little bit, and another guy saw me and ushered me into a cinema. I wondered why, after what seemed like the last trailer, there was a Walt Disney slug. And then I wondered why this Christopher Robin trailer seemed to be going on forever. And then I realized that second guy, in trying to be helpful, assumed for some reason that I had a ticket for Christopher Robin and not the Chinese movie next door. And I don't blame him at all. As I've often said, I think it's really nice that a lot of times when I go to the box office to buy a ticket for the movie, the people will literally open a drawer and take out a piece of paper to make sure that there are English subtitles for the movie that I want to watch, or they'll ask me, do you know this is a Chinese movie? Sometimes, even as I'm walking towards the specific house, people will say, "Excuse me, sir, that's a Chinese movie." It's like, yeah, I know. But these people are just trying to do what they think is right, and I really don't ever blame them. Besides, if I'd taken a second to look, I would have realized that I was going into the wrong house, so really, it's all on me. In my defense, the doors were right next to each other, and I had just been in that same house a couple of days ago to watch Men on the Dragon, and that's really why I didn't look. So, mea culpa. Sí, yo hablo español. No importa, vámonos. The Winners were one of Hong Kong's first really popular bands. They launched the careers of Alan Tam and Kenny B as both singers and actors. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Winners drummer Anthony Chan, who's been in quite a few movies himself, co-wrote and directed House of the Rising Suns. I bring that up because it obviously has an effect on the movie. Unlike 2004's Fantasia, which was co-written and directed by Wai Ka-fai, House of the Rising Suns is much more a straightforward origin story kind of movie, as opposed to a Chinese New Year comedy. The movie features some familiar young actors playing the Winners, including Carlos Chan, Lam Su-ying, and Jonathan Wong. The roles of Alan Tam and Kenny B are played, respectively, by a Taiwanese and mainland actor, and their dubbing and appearance were a little incongruous. But like I always say, movies don't pay for themselves, unless you're Dennis Law. So sometimes you do what you have to do with the people that you have to do it with. That's how I got here, according to my mother. But let's move on. Now, while House of the Rising Suns isn't gonna make Ang Lee nervous, it also wasn't ever meant to do that. I think it's only fair to look at this movie on the level of what it is trying to do, and on that level I think it succeeds admirably. The story hits all the requisite genre points, and it provides its audience with all the comedy, melodrama, and nostalgia it asks for. There's also snot. Oh, you got that! But hey, we've all been there. The young actors do a reasonable job in their roles, and whatever qualms I might have about their thespian tendencies, anybody who can run down a slick tiled hallway in platform shoes without breaking their neck deserves only one thing.
Respect.
And speaking of platform shoes, the thing I probably enjoyed the most about this movie was the wardrobe. The 1970s clothing was a lot of fun to see, because I'm old enough to remember when people actually wore it. And even the wigs were pretty good. Nobody really looks good in a velvet suit, but these guys get as close as any of us could hope for. The only real criticism I have of the film is actually one of its strong points. The young actors do their best, but the veterans of this cast, including Lu Kai-chi, Kara Hui, Elaine Jin, Chin Siu-ho, and Simon Yam, elevate the film well above where it would otherwise be. Simon Yam was particularly good as the father who just can't understand why his son wants to throw away his life on music when a perfectly good normal job is there for the taking. The movie's epilogue brings home the very real, very human history of the band, and while it might seem like a slightly obvious way of ending the film, it was also kind of nice to see that sometimes people live up to their word, and sometimes friends really are forever. I enjoyed this film more than I expected to, because it was better than I expected, and I can honestly say that I definitely recommend this movie to people because you get to learn a little bit about the Winners. If you're like me, you're probably going to have to look it up, on the internet, but that's okay. It's a fun, entertaining film. Like I said, the sets and the costumes are a lot of fun to look at. Some of the performances are really great. And as I just mentioned, the epilogue of the film, for me, really tied it all together and gave it more impact than I expected it to. So if you get a chance, make sure that you see this movie. However, make sure that you do so in a legal way. The easiest way to do that is by spending money. You can buy or rent a copy, because if you don't pay to watch a movie, you stole it. And as long as we're talking about money, you know what I'm going to ask, but I'll try and be a little funny, I guess. Please click on my Patreon page, because for just a very small amount of money every month, you can have a very significant impact on my life. You can make it easier for me to do these reviews. I know there haven't been many this summer, but that's because there haven't been a lot of movies this summer, and, I've been busy. So please, click on this link and think about making a donation. If you enjoyed my review, please let me know, and if you didn't, please let me know. If you enjoy the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.